So welcome again, and can you tell me, have you found interesting startups in LA? I know you came here from Europe,
Yep.
right? And looking for interesting startups. Have you found anything that is worth investing?
So yes, I've found a few, right? I think I am now involved in around 6 or 7 startups, right? And so since I'm new in the country, in this startup ecosystem, I'm doing 2 things, right? First, I want to work with my ideal case, which is really very early idea stage startups. And I don't find this easily, right? Because usually when people go out there, they already have like something to show, or they're already pitching at events. And usually you start pitching at events when you believe you have something, right? When you have some MVP or some traction. So I got to find a way to go earlier than that. And the best way to do this is for people to know that these kind of investors exist, right? Probably more first-time entrepreneurs that don't really know how to get started, that need help. So those people are gonna go to incubators or accelerators, or just people they know that they are involved within the startup ecosystem. So in the words, what I got to do is go out there to those partners and tell them, hey guys, if you meet a first-time entrepreneur that needs some help build that traction because they don't know how to do it, probably they will be too early for those accelerators or those incubators or those other investors. So send them to me. So that's one thing that I do, right? Now, since I haven't done all my homework yet, finding all those partners, maybe this video, by the way, will help. I'm still involved with like early stage startups, which are a little bit later than what we usually add value. And so those startups, they will more have like probably already an MVP, not per se customer traction, because as we discussed earlier on, people are really focused on building their products. So when I see that, I definitely want to get involved, because then I can say, of course, if the startup is interesting, if they are a little bit later stage, meaning they have already an MVP or a product, but I see that they don't have this traction or customer traction, that's why I feel, okay, I can be useful, right? I can be useful, I can show to that entrepreneur how I would do it. Whether it's good or not will have to be defined together. But usually with my experience, I can help de-risk and validate assumptions, and then hopefully I can help them move forward, get them in touch with investors, and build my network, adding my value in a certain way. So those are the 2 tracks that I'm currently doing in the centers, but also in Orange County, just to learn about the ecosystem. Not by just talking to people, but by really working, making my hands dirty and working with startups.
So how do you market yourself?
I go to events. I like to me, customer traction. That's people hear this all the time, right? So when you're an entrepreneur, you go to investors, they say, okay, but what is your traction, right? And
so you want to see customer traction.
I don't.
Above everything else.
If an entrepreneur has it, then it means it's too late for me, because that's where I add the value. It's, I can show them, I can do this with them, how to enable and get that customer traction, to generate it. That's where I can help. So usually when I go to pitch events or I meet people, I say, you go to investors, they need you to have that traction. Well, probably if you're a first-time entrepreneur, it's difficult to get that. I've done it many times, right? So I can help you achieve that, right? And see, investors are looking for that, and they don't per se have this answer to that. It's a keyword that resonates with them a lot. So that's one way.
So you are, by the way, filling in a huge gap. Because I always find, people with ideas, you can find a lot of people with a lot of ideas that have done some homework, right? They have checked the market, they've seen that there is an opportunity, they may have built something quick, right? but they don't know how to do marketing. They don't know how to get customer traction. They don't know how to talk to customers. Then they don't know how to approach investors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there is huge gap between that number, that kind of people, that kind of idea stage entrepreneurs, and the stage where investors are really interested in joining.
Yeah.
So that is a huge gap, and
Mm-hmm.
usually people cannot make it across. That's what I see as a
Yeah.
big problem.
Yeah.
And if you have the framework and you have the methodology to get people from an idea stage through that gap to meet VC or other investors after that, that's huge. And not only that, it gives you the a chance to join early, right?
Exactly. That's the whole concept, right? And you know, I think that also working with us, you know, it's very straightforward, right? What I feel sometimes is that, you know, entrepreneurs, they, you know, how do you say, like, turn around the pot? Is this an expression?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But they're not, you know, really getting there to the right answer, right? So the way that we approach an opportunity is really very straightforward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Either it works, either it don't.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't, right? So we're gonna tackle all these questions, and if there are unknowns, we gotta find a way to get those unknowns solved,
Mm-hmm.
or at least have some metrics about them. If we don't have them, we try to get them, and if we're not able to actually get good numbers or good metrics, then for us it's a sign that we shouldn't move forward. So we're trying to give those tools to the entrepreneurs as well, so that they can make a decision, and not like I used to do, like in my past projects, like, you know, testing an idea for years, and at the end of the day, and by the way, every person telling you, you know, how is it going? It's very difficult for people, by the way, to say, what do you do, man? It doesn't work, right? You should stop that. You should stop that. It's very rude to say that, so people will never tell you this. But if you have numbers, if you have metrics that show that it's just not easy, it's, you know, you should do something else, it's much easier.
Yeah.
And so we help also entrepreneurs but, you know.
I really hate to have like fake positive signals, right? Because that is going to stop you from failing quickly, right?
Yeah.
If you have a customer now and then and just keeps you going on and on, doesn't tell you straight away that this idea is not good, or your business model doesn't fit the idea, right? Mm-hmm. Or you have to look for different type of customers.
It's really about, you know, trying to fail as fast as possible, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we made an experiment 2 years ago because we wanted to be better at testing ideas, right? Mm-hmm. So we asked 70 entrepreneurs that had ideas, right? We asked them, hey, can you come to us, right? And we're gonna, you know, test your idea the way we have done it before, and the way we want to shape that methodology. We didn't filter, so we didn't select those entrepreneurs, but we had 70 entrepreneurs come to us where we would help them test their idea. And so the way we do this is by trying to generate customer traction, trying to sell the value to people to see whether, you know, the problem exists and all that. And out of the 70 projects, right, we were able to generate that customer traction on 34 projects.
Yeah, that's a good number.
That's a good number, right?
Absolutely.
But it doesn't mean that those projects are awesome. It just means that we were able to kill very fast the bad ones and only focus our energy on the 34. So we already reduced half of the projects. But we only invested in 4.
Okay.
Why is that? Right? So,
but that's still a good number.
That's a good number.
That's more than that's 5.
I was happy with that. So here's what happened. So from the 70, we tested the idea. Mm-hmm. We tested, is this idea worth solving? Do people want to get this solved? Uh-huh. And so we got some numbers. So 34 showed some numbers. Those numbers were moderate, some were good, some were bad, but
showed something.
Something. The ones that didn't show anything, we just, we killed them. Now, if you generate traction, if you generate customer traction, you generate a list of leads, right? Mm-hmm. And we send this list of leads to the entrepreneur, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where we test the entrepreneur. So from 70 to 34, we test the idea. Mm-hmm. And from 34 to 4 investment, we're able to test the mindset of the quality of the entrepreneur.
I see.
So what happened is, you send, imagine, so you're an entrepreneur, you say, I have this idea, so we test it, we send you a list of leads, potential customers to you. Most of the time, you will tell me, cool, now I have a list of leads, I will, contact them again in a year when I will have my product. That's what the most of the people, told me. And so we said, well, come on, man, we gave you leads, and now you're telling me that you're not gonna at least contact them and try in any way you can to bring that value to them, mm-hmm. right? So that's how we selected those people to not invest in them. 4 out of them were crazy enough or creative enough, even without a product, mm-hmm. right? Even without building anything, to be creative enough and bring that value to those leads, right? Mm-hmm. And those were the ones that we want to invest. That we wanted to invest in, right?
I see.
So this is kind of our due diligence. So we test, the idea by generating customer traction, and then with those leads, we send them to the entrepreneur, and then we test the mindset, and we collaborate together around this. Mm-hmm. To me, that's the best way, the best due diligence you can have when you want to invest, right?
Yeah. That way, you have customers, right? Potential customers, right? Yeah. And then that this entrepreneur can deliver, and they're behind their ideas. Because I see a lot of people saying, I have like a list with ideas, right? Mm. That is very dangerous situation, meaning they're very easy to jump from one idea to another to the next. And they will never focus and dedicate on their current idea and spend all the time and energy.
But to me, I see this in a little bit different way. Like, either you want to build a product, right? Mm-hmm. Or you want to get a problem solved. And so by these tests, you can differentiate the people that want to build a product, which to me are not the right people, and the people that are just willing to do whatever it takes to get that problem solved, even if it's on a very small scale, without a product, without nothing. Mm-hmm. They want to take that opportunity to be able to talk to potential customers and trying to find out and teach themselves what they can do, again, even without a product, to generate that value. So that, to me, that's really the learning that we had doing that experiment. Mm-hmm. And now we replicate that same methodology to any projects that we have, and even for later stages companies. So not idea stage. Well, to me, it's still idea, because if you don't have prospects, you don't have leads, mm-hmm. you're still at idea stage, right? But I mean, even though people wouldn't agree with me, because they would say, I have an MVP, so I'm later, so my evaluation goes up. I don't agree with that. So the first thing that we do when we see those companies, in which probably we won't invest, because they are very much emotionally involved already with their product, so it's very difficult for them to pivot, mm-hmm. and they believe that their valuation goes up, so it's going to be difficult to find an arrangement. Even for them, we're trying to help them and say, you know what, you have this is great, but try to validate what features needs to be built next, or sometimes we see those products have so many features, right? It's like the more features you build, the bigger the market and the bigger the chance of success, which is totally the opposite, I believe, right? You should try first to understand what is the must-have feature that people want, that brings the biggest value, and focus only on that. And so that's why we're trying to help the entrepreneurs that already have built an MVP to try to decouple all the features into measuring what is actually what the people want. Mm-hmm. If you have already built those features yet, good for you. Hopefully we'll be able to use that later on. But first, let's market the must-have feature and reduce the complexity.
So it's very interesting how young or starting entrepreneurs or people that this is their first product, want to build the perfect product, right? At the same time, people kind of skip to realize that, take Google, Android Auto. It was a crappy product for about a year, right? Apple, I won't even speak about their version of Auto navigation system and all that stuff. And Amazon is just entering the market. And if you read reviews for their version of Auto, whatever they have, Alexa in the car, people are actually asking the question: Is this a beta version? Am I a test user that paid for this device? So that tells you that big companies know very well that they have to test before they actually invest a lot of money to build a product.
Yeah.
And in the case with Alexa, they even make you pay, right, for the product, and eventually offset some of their investments, right? But that shows you that the approach that you have to have when you build a product is you can build something that has core value, right? And that should be your MVP. I can talk a lot about MVP because people think that cut down version with minimum functionality is MVP. No, MVP needs to deliver core value, get tested, collect information, learn about it, learn from it, and go build again, right? But they forget about all this. It's a cycle, right?
Yeah.
And I was in that situation where I was building a software product and I was perfecting it, and it never hit the market, because when I was ready, somebody else was already there and had all the customers that I could have, right?
Yeah.
So it died before it even was.
And also probably because you felt much more comfortable being behind a computer and having some features and actually launching it, because you would always think that it's not perfect enough. And so we use a sentence saying, usually which is better a good today than a perfect tomorrow, because perfect doesn't exist, so you will never
be there
launch anyway. So if you have something good now, go for it, test it, get the learning, get the key metrics out of it, and then move forward.
It's much easier for people like me to sit behind the computer and work on developing the product than actually picking up the phone and call a real customer. That is actually terrifying, right? And when you see a CEO, especially with technical background, my first question would be, have you called any customers? Because tech people kind of tend to think that this is salesperson's job. It's not my job. Techie people are borderline arrogant people because they're very knowledgeable, right? And tend to keep in specific area of knowledge. And going outside that area is really difficult.
But isn't it strange though? Because,
it's one thing to be technical person and different to be an entrepreneur.
But that's again what I was saying earlier on, right? Either you want to build a product, but then you should join another company where you can be the product developer or CPO or whatever, or you want to build a business. And if you want to build a business, it means though that you will want to get so fast to this customer and try to extract some revenue out of it. Because at the end of the day, come on, when you're an entrepreneur, it's so satisfying. It's so satisfying to get that first revenue, right? To me, that's the thrill into building a company, not in building products. And to me, that's a good test. Maybe we should use that. Like, if the person is too focused on their product, it means that they're not willing to build a business. They just want to build a product, and then they should just join another company, which is fine. But the people that really want to get to those customers and get that first revenue, probably those are the ones that are real entrepreneurs, and that they focus on bringing that value, right?
Yeah,
that's good.
One investor told me some time ago, he asked me this question, do you have a technical co-founder? And I asked why. And he said, well, if you have a technical co-founder, you have slight chance of succeeding. If you don't have a technical co-founder, you have no chances of succeeding in building a startup. And I found that a little bit strange.
Okay.
Yeah, but nowadays everything is technology.
Yeah.
Any company, just point me to a company, and that company is a technology company. Like a retail apparel company, it's a technology company, and they better understand that. But what is your take on that?
I don't think that's true. I think that, so by the way, one of our criteria when we invest idea stage, it's not all the cases like this, but one of the criteria is one founder. Because when you arrive at that stage so early, you don't know what team you need. You don't know what skills you need in your team. You just have an idea, a vision.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the mistake that people do at that stage is, oh, I don't want to be by myself, so I'm going to ask, some friends or family to join me into my adventure. But so you're already making important decisions that earlier on. So to me, those are not it's not a perfect match to build a business, right? So that's why we'd rather see only one founder, and then we solve the first unknowns with that entrepreneur. And when we gain that maturity, then we know what we want. So either the founder was already more technical, right? Or it was about our business person. But in any case, by gaining that maturity, we know the weaknesses and strengths of that founder, and we can then later on see really what is the best match for that person. But it happens maybe a year or maybe even 2 years after. And so far it has been successful, right? Now it's true that...
See, this is how every single investor has a different approach.
They come, of course the team is so important, right? But they come at later stages, right? They come where you have already a team.
At that stage, you're looking for money to expand. You're not really looking for money to build that initial momentum, right?
I would even say that by having that way of, in the same way we're building the team, it reduces the risk, because when they are ready to raise some real money from later stage investors, the team will be much better, because they will be based on real criteria of what are my weaknesses, how can I complement those weaknesses with other strengths from another person, and you know what you need because you have gained that maturity. If you start at first, right, from an idea stage, how do you know what is the best co-founder for you? You don't really know.
You don't know.
It's a guess.
Yeah.
And isn't it one of the biggest failures startups to have a conflict between?
Oh yeah,
founders?
that is.
I have my share of experience with that.
Yeah.
Right? So
I guess everybody has that experience, because when you start, you look for help, and not necessarily complementary character or skill set, but somebody that can move along with you the idea, and most likely for free.
Again, not the to me a good criteria. I'd rather wait a little bit more and then find that perfect CTO, but when we pay a little bit more money, because we know that's the person we want. I think that's the way you build a team. Right.
All right. Well, this was another great session with you, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on Startup Bright again.
My pleasure.
And I hope we'll meet again
soon.
All right.
Thanks, man.